Today I'm going to be talking about Malchut, which is the receiver, like the receiver where it now becomes the display of the initial light, the energy, the incoming, the blessing. It's like the new world comes through. It's the queen, right? It's the king. It's the royalty, the sovereignty, the dignity. It can be humble because it had to get what it's giving. It was like chosen or anointed or something. It like didn't do it on its own, but it's naturally blessed to be that way. So it's truly humble because it's not something that it made out of itself, but it has the ability, like it didn't create its ability to speak, but when it speaks, the speaking is very creative, and our speech has an effect, even if it's just teaching ourselves and our mind what's the truth, what's reality, information, right? Formation, what matters, what gets matter. So the energy of like men and dogs is different than women and children, which is like the center like of the earth, right? Our deepest wish is to be a receiver to a penetrator. The physical form of this is not to be crude, but vagina to penis, because maybe the first, because maybe the one came first, because then it needed to be an exact match to the hollowed out. And I've mentioned this before, like Shabbat, we seize, we stop, right? We hollow out, we sit, and it means like open emptiness with space, yet specifically for the right match. Like a non-Jew is not supposed to keep the Sabbath. And then being loved unconditionally just for being who we are is to be a blessing. Like that's what it is to be like royal, dignity, sovereignty, glory. It's just exactly who I am, right? And it goes double when I'm also loved conditionally, which means for what I do. It's a deeper bond because it's like the movements I'm making in the world promote light. So prompting, we're like prompting, like that's why I do all these prompts. We prompt light. We like nudge it and then it spills out. It's like sometimes we just like poke a blister and then something comes out, and it's for the best. Sometimes what comes out at first is like for the sake of the light, often is like the stuff that was blocking, which is what we really didn't want to look at, or because like the remnant, like what's foreign, what's strange, like it couldn't be dissolved and recycled. It's like a descendant. In Hebrew we say zara is descendant, womb, children. We're all the children of God. It's like the derivative, the lower power. Then the source is like getting too big for its britches and saying, I am everything. But we all came through this physical recycled material. And there's dignity in the hairs. For example, like I'm going to use my hairs where I say how, like I sometimes feel like I have too much hair for a woman. But yet it's a moving out energy. It's a radiation energy projecting from inside. And it's a protection superficially also because of like, for example, I'm not going to be as likely to get mites or like irritants. Like it protects the skin. So kind of like in my malchut role, I'm like able to be more on the outside. If I had more of a I had to be more in a keter role, right? So that's kind of looking at how I could shift in a spiritual mindset. And this is what we would call our living godliness. The living God is constantly new, arriving with time. And so we are coming into being with time, coming into being right now, a form, and it's us. And so there's that aspect of our constant divinity, heavenliness, even if it's very difficult. And I'll share finally like a few cool number things. So Rabbi Trugman from Israel, he says the Shlomo star is 5 points, the David star is 6 points, and the Abraham star is 8 points. Then Chava is number 19, which is 8 for Ches, which is Vav for 6, and He is 5. The previous world is Tohu, which is the previous 7 worlds, really, represented by 8 Edom kings' lineage. So Edom, so the world of Tohu means the formless world, like the world of chaos, of not exactness, of when we get to Malchut, by now we're saying it's got edges, form, a barrier. Like what causes the blockage, the skin, like we said earlier, sometimes where it should be fluid and there's a blockage, there's something we don't want to look at there. It's not like what we want. So when we're covered in a skin, it could be like that. We just don't, that's like body dysmorphia. We don't like our appearance, right? And then there's like 8 Edom kings, which is, the Edom is like the red, very red. But it's not exactly red. It's also to do with Esav. It's also to do with the hair. It's all the things I'm saying that like the lineage of the outside. It's the 8th wife is Mehetavel. This is the gematria, same as cosmic, planetary, refers to the vessel shattering. So Fab, so it's the female and the male. The Chava as the 19 is like 8, 6, and 5, and then the star like is 8, 6, and 5, right? Shlomo, David, Abraham. So the initial woman idea has the points of these 3, like, and we would say there's also like the 8 elements here of specifically, like the reason I brought in the Edom kings is because they say there's like the rulers. When Yisrael goes down, Esav goes up. And I'm bringing this in as the inner self work, right? I'm saying that we have this shape-shifting energy as a feminine power creative through us and it's like even through our feet, the roots of the earth, like how we connect and what we're willing to receive and our edges. And I'm saying my own struggles have been through like the masculine version of that for me. As I said, being loved conditionally and unconditionally. Meanwhile, we would say like a man sometimes prefers conditional love. He wants to be loved for what he's doing. And a woman prefers unconditional love, just because I am. So we really do have to like balance these out in us. And it doesn't have anything to do with our gender. It has to do with balancing out in us. And I'm going to read now one more thing from Chabad.org. This is... it's just nice to read. I'm going to read it now. You're a city. You're the master of 4 gates that enter your city. The gate of listening. The gate of vision. The gate of imagining. The gate of speaking. The husband is the infinite God, and although he is infinite, he can be known to each of us if we will only clear the gateways for him to enter. This is why all the world competes to storm the gates. They want you to see the ugliness they see and the cacophony they hear. Imagine the nonsense they imagine and speak without end. They want to be voting citizens of your city, and then you will desire all they desire. You will know only what they wish you to know. No room will be left in your city for anything but them. That is why you must remain the master of those gates, so that wisdom will flow through them. Endless wisdom. Thank you. Be well. Hope to do a video tomorrow. Similar topic.